Good evening, race fans, and welcome in. It's another wonderful Tuesday evening here at VirtualRacing.Network, and we are kicking off a brand new racing league. Yes, it's an exciting evening of racing as we get set for an entire season of iRacing NASCAR next-gen machines out there for the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. Tonight, it's the Sundance Pizza 250 at Daytona. That's right, 25 laps in the first stage, 50 laps in the second, and 100 laps overall. Welcome once again to the hollow ground of racing here at the Daytona International Speedway. I'm Trevor Greenfield, and tonight I'll be joined in the booth by none other than Marty Sakala and Alex Axman. Marty, Alex, welcome to the booth, guys. And Marty, what can you tell us about tonight's race here for the very first round of this Buttkicker Cup Series for BRB?
Well, there's no place to get things started than the World Center of Racing here, Trevor, at Daytona International Speedway. Obviously, NASCAR action gets back going in February. And, of course, race number one is the track that, while it doesn't show us the talent from the real driver, from all the drivers out there, it does show us, though, anyone could have a chance to win it. So the stakes are about equal coming on in here.
Totally equal, and that's what we expect to see throughout this season. A lot of great competitors entering into this season of competition, the inaugural season for the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. Some familiar names going to be in the field for those of you who have been joining us here on VirtualRacing.Network. We have a couple of teams and racers that have been competing in other leagues here. But Alex, this track here at Daytona, it's familiar to everybody. Everybody who's ever raced in NASCAR coming up through the various iRacing official races, etc., have raced here. What do you know about Daytona? Does it matter where you qualify? Is it all about drafting? What's your thoughts on tonight?
Well, Daytona has always been a skillful track in the sense that drafting is always going to come into play. Getting out on the back stretch and getting a good solid run coming out of two, that's where we're going to see a lot of movement. And then coming into three, whether or not these drivers are going to be checking up real hard coming into three, and that top line out of four. Overall, I think it's going to be definitely a track to show who's got what it takes to hold out the lead and who's going to get a good run in here and there, and we'll just have to see how it shakes down. It's going to be a good, fun race for these drivers, I'm sure.
Yes, indeed, and that's what it's all about, having fun out there behind the wheel. We all get to live out our dream to be a real-life NASCAR driver. Here it is, Bill Hales out there for Spirit Racing, one of four drivers. Maximum allowed in a team is four drivers. Spirit Racing packed to the gills heading into tonight's race. He's taken second fastest out there so far, but you see Jeremy Clapper Newell there at the top of the board so far, one of our few international entrants from the great country of Canada. He sits atop it right now. Now the limitless eSports driver, Carl Pooler, heading out there, and right now he has taken third fastest. Richard Wolfscher is currently sitting in fifth fastest, as Stephen Borbell, who's carrying the race sponsor's logo on that machine for Next Level Motorsports, now takes over the third spot. So we're fortunate to get a nice field of drivers out there, including, how about Ronnie Norman? That's right. In fact, he is racing for Full Send eSports. So two names that you'll recognize from here on VirtualRacing.Network. But Ronnie Norman joining his teammate over there, Brady Moats, who currently takes the fourth spot here. Marty, let's say you've seen a few races here at Daytona, and you've seen how the stage format works out for these guys. What do you think? Is it all about getting those stage points up front? Are you just kind of hanging out, trying not to crash your car, trying to not get taken out? Are you thinking long-term in this race? What's your plan?
I think in this race, if I want to have a chance at the finish, I want to be there long-term. You'll get a chance to get stage points throughout the entire season. But with Daytona, a track everybody has circled on their calendar, if I'm at racing at this track, I'm hanging out in the back of the pack until it's either late in the race or late in the stage. then I'm charging my way to the front. As I believe we just had someone take the pole, Alex Light, in the 5, and he's got it.
Well, fantastic job there by Alex. And of course, just as we start focusing on the grid as they're about to line up here, but you're right, Alex Light there at the very end as the track conditions continue to cool. The evening starts to settle in here at Daytona. He manages to take that pole position. Let's go ahead and get you set for tonight's race here, the Sundance Pizza 250. We'll be hearing more about Sundance Pizza as the night goes on. And let's go ahead and take a look at tonight's starting grid. Taking that pole position, as you can see there at the top of the screen, it is Alexander Light who takes pole position, and he'll be starting next to Jeremy Clapper Newell with the Spirit Racing Machine. Bill Hales going to be starting in that second row, and next to him will be Stephen Borbell. On the third row, it'll be Brady Moats, and alongside him will be Ronnie Norman. On the fourth row, Carl Pooler will be alongside his teammate at Limitless Esports, Richard Wolsifer. On that fifth row, it'll be Jeff Barefoot, starting next to Matthew Erickson. Starting in 11th place, Jared Hughes will be alongside of Gregory Shaw. Starting in 13th, Evan Patinko. And next to him, Christopher Campbell. Adam Bazeo, league admin here at the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series, will be starting alongside Gavin Rogers. Cody Brown will be next to Nicholas Renner. And in 19th, you're going to have Eric Hawk next to Zachary King. That is going to be your starting grid for tonight's Sundance Pizza 250. Guys, the cars are just rolling off of the grid. The heartbeats start coming up. Butterflies start coming up into the stomach. It's the first race of the new season. What are your thoughts as you get started? Is there any way to really calm those nerves? I mean, you've been through it so many times.
Alex, I'll let you take this one first.
Coming into any race, at least with what I've experienced, every time you get into that grid and you're pacing, it's just taking deep breaths, one breath at a time, pacing yourself, because once you set your pace, then you're settled in. Once you can get that locked in, you can move in, and then just take your time. I think the first race coming into the season, there's going to be a lot of pressure on all these drivers, and that's a lot of pressure to deal with. But I think the biggest key here is just going to be taking your time, making your smart moves, and just waiting it out.
I think I cannot disagree with Alex one bit, that's for sure. I definitely agree with what he says. You want to be patient, take your time, and if you don't like where you are in the pack and you are really concerned, you're going to want to fade to the back. But if you do, chances are likely that you may not win this race possibly. But at Daytona, where anyone has a shot to win, nerves are going through everybody, first race of the year. And, of course, for the Ammons, they want to make sure they kick this series off on a high note.
Well, everybody looking to get in that great first race of the season, the great first start. As you guys mentioned, you got to make it to the end. Alexander Light going to lead us to this green flag here in just a moment. Once again, the Sundance Pizza 250 at Daytona about to get underway. Be doing 25 laps in this first stage, 50 laps in that second stage, and 100 overall. Let's see who can make it to that first stage break. Here we go. We are underway for the very first race of the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. Clapper Newell and Alex Light still holding side by side. Looks like still very strong formation here in the first 4 rows. Taking a look a little bit further back. Looks like everybody's still able to keep in line, which is good news. Nobody jumping out of line quite yet.
This is, as always, as the cars start to settle and get up to speed, up to their full potential when it comes to horsepower. You're going to see the low line be successful on the opening lap, but once we get a couple laps in, that second groove on the outside will be the place to be as the front three single file off of 4.
Make a great point, Marty. Figuring out what is going to be the best line overall tonight. It may change. It may stay the same. Will it be the outside? Will it be the inside? As things cool down and rubber up a bit, it's definitely going to be some decision making, as now it looks like Jeremy Clapper Newell has dropped quite a ways back there in that number 13 machine.
Ooh. And they got somebody blinking as well, has me a little bit nervous.
Well, and you see Newell there come down to the yellow line, try and chop down and get back in formation. Indeed, that's, I'm still trying to get a camera on it, but I believe it's Brady Moats having a little bit of blinking issues. He's not known for having those issues, but they do have a blinking policy here in the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. You get a certain number of blinks, and then you're going to be asked to go to the back, and after that, you get parked. So certainly something to keep in mind, but we've seen that happen in other series, netcode being what it is. Certainly don't want to take any chances with drivers blinking out, and you end up with a multi-car mess.
Yeah, we're starting to see a split here. Looks like our groups are starting to split up. Front group is definitely leading the way on that lower line. The back group still kind of hanging on that middle line there. I'd be curious to see if later on here in this race we start seeing some drivers move up to that middle line to conserve some tires as well.
And I think that the reason why that we're in 2 groups now is because of everything that happened with the 19. Everybody trying to avoid him blinking and everybody trying to get low so they can get away from him, and it just caused a huge stack up of the pack. And now with the fact that this second pack is all side by side, this is allowing the front 8, which are towing single file, to pull away and have a lot more speed.
They do have a ton more speed, and they have now pulled out almost a 2-second gap. Now, that's not too much for these drivers to pull back in this second group, but they are going to have to work together, as it does look like that gap continues to increase ever so much. Actually, I take it back, about a 1.5-second gap between Borbell, who's in 9th place, and 8th, Gregory Schall. Now, let's talk about some of these movers and shakers already. Carl Pooler for Limitless eSports, he's jumped up now into that 3rd spot. He's climbing very quickly, as is his teammate, Richard Wolsifer. He's up 4 spots. Jeff Barefoot also up 4 spots at the moment. And of course, some of that due to Stephen Borbell now jumping all the way back 5 spots from where he started into that 9th place. And you've got some other drivers that have kind of had some difficulty. Here's Ronnie Norman, who's moved backwards as well. He's now 10 spots removed. Evan Patinko, he's dropped a couple of spots. We see another blinker there in the field, but hopefully they'll get their blinking fixed and not cause too much commotion. Matthew Erickson for Full Send Esports, he's dropping back as well. Brady Moats for Full Send Esports dropping back. So we're seeing a lot of these Full Send drivers with all of that experience dropping back. Brady having a problem with blinking, but guys, I think this is just a case of maybe trying to avoid some incidents early on, make sure that you're there at the end.
Absolutely. This stage is 25 laps. Everybody can go green to checkered. I think everyone just wants to get a good feel for their cars, see how they are in the draft, see maybe how it is when the drivers lay back a bit. But with the exception of getting way too aggressive, everyone just wants to stay patient and hug the double yellow line.
Absolutely, and we might even see here with these 2 teammates here from Full Send, we might even see them kind of push coming out of that back straight. You might see a couple cars go bumper to bumper trying to get up to that number 1 and maybe try to get around him. I'd be curious to see here before too long, when we get closer to the end of the first stage, whether or not the teams are going to start coordinating a little bit on that aspect.
You can see as well that second pack trying to create a second group, but that's just going to slow everybody down. That's Ronnie Norman and Matt Erickson, who both started near the front.
Yeah, they really have dropped far back. I mean, right now they are literally at the back of the pack, but again, Having broadcasted both the NORA Cup Series and the Icon Cup Series this last season for Ronnie Norman, there is simply no replacement for the amount of experience that Norman and Brady Moats have. We've seen them take victories throughout the season, so these guys, I have to say, they know what they're doing, but it's kind of questionable early on, so we'll have to see. You know, you can make up a lot of ground, as we've just talked about. Alexander Light right now still holding down the front of this one, but if we look at where that gap is right now, it's come down to 1.3 seconds from that number 2 machine, Stephen Borbell, up to Gregory Shaw. So this is not an insurmountable gap. It may look like a lot, but this is easily something that can get hauled in here before we get to the end of this first stage.
Yeah, take a look at the gap. They were 400ths better the last time by. Now that time by, Shaw was better by just about a 10th. And so this front pack, obviously where you want to be right now amongst the top 8 drivers. And when you think about it long term, if you're in the second pack, you could be battling 4 stage points at the end. You may not even get any stage points possibly.
It's certainly something to think about. Do I want to be up there fighting with these guys at the very front? As you see Borbell there and Adam Bazeo really close to one another, nose to tail. Looks like a little bit of bump drafting as we come through the corner even. But these drivers having to make that decision. Do I want to go up there, take the chance of, possibly getting into a wreck early on in the race? It's a little bit too much for these guys to have to decide. Now, of course, when that stage break will come out, it'll be a perfect opportunity for all these drivers to come in. They won't be worried about fuel or tires or anything. They'll come in at the stage break. So no big issue in this first stage. It's all about racing it out. So in that way, guys, I don't know. If I was out there behind the wheel, I'd have to be going for it. It'd take all the restraint in the world to try to keep me from going for one of those stage wins.
Yeah, absolutely. Being in the backpack, I just would. It'd be hard not to make a move. And you can see the next level guys are still on that high line in that backpack, but I don't know. I would be really pushing to try to make up that ground, and Bazeo pushing Borbell there. They might start squeezing that gap in a little bit, so it looks like they're starting to gain some ground here, but I don't know if it's going to be enough in the next 9 laps to squeeze in that gap before the end of the stage.
Yeah, the gap cut down to just about a second that last time by. Borbell 3/10 better than Shaw. They just stay single file like this and make sure they're all not jockeying around this racetrack, just hugging that WO line. They'll be able to close in and maybe even get the tow up to the 45 where 2 packs could merge into one.
Yeah, it's 0.8 of a second now. That gap is closing down, just like you're saying there, Marty, and this is going to be very interesting here in just a couple of laps. I'm not sure if Borbell's just going to try to pace it so that he catches him, maybe with 2 laps to go, or if he's going all out, because right now it is closed down to even 0.6 of a second. Look out, here comes the backpack of Borbell, Bazeo, and Rogers. They are coming in a hurry.
Now I'm wondering if anybody is going to go up to the second group and decide, you know what, let's see if we can make a run, or if this entire line decides to move up to the middle of this racetrack. I think some of them may stick to the bottom side, but there you see if Borbell, Bazeo, and Rogers, they decide, let's take a risk and go for it.
When you're moving, you got that much momentum. I would say that's probably the right move. With that much momentum coming up on that front pack, you're leading the way. Everybody who's behind you is going to follow suit. And look at that. Look at the run that Borbell's got all the way up to 7th, taking that high line.
Yeah, he actually ran the quickest lap of the race last time by at a 45.53, running 200 miles an hour going into the corner. That's not normal for the next gen drivers when they're normally running 190, 195.
Yeah, you got to know how to play that draft, and it looks like finally somebody moves over to cover him off. I believe that was Wolsifer. And now Barefoot just in front. Actually, they're trading positions there. You see the number 11 of Barefoot and the 2. Now we're starting to see some exchange of positions. I think it has been said, we're going to go up there and fight for these stage points. We're not going to just hang in the back and wait this one out and let everyone else have a turn at the front.
And now Pooler and Wolsifer both decide to switch up to that second groove. That slowed up the number 2's momentum. We got one off track. Brady Motes, I believe. Yeah, off in turn number 4 in the tri-oval. But he keeps it straight. Will stay green, obviously.
That was a good spot. He does pull it into the pits, and that'll probably be an unsafe pit entry as the pack goes flying by on the track. I wonder if he didn't have some sort of technical glitch with that blinking out. As you can disappear from the track, it can cause all kinds of technical issues. Race still underway, just 10 laps left of the first stage. Great to have you all with us live in YouTube. Pleasure to have you with us. It is Wolf X Live. Let's go, you bet. Brand new season, brand new racing series. So much fun. NASCAR Geico Cup Series. Checking in, saying driver the number 51 here. Thank you everyone for supporting, and we appreciate you checking in with us. And Stephen Dombrowski, howdy Trevor. Great to see you. Another series on here with you. You bet. I'm so glad to see you out here, Stephen. We hope to have you as much as possible. I know it's difficult with your work, but great to have you here. You're seeing a great race. How about Carl Pooler jumping up into the lead? Richard Wolsifer right there behind him. We've got a new leader.
Yeah, both these guys had made that jump to that high line, and that is what kind of pushed them past the leader there. Obviously, Light's going to be questioning whether or not his decision to stay on the low line is working out, but definitely coming back into single file, it's going to make Light have to really contemplate what he's going to do next.
That bump draft as well for Wolsifer really helped out Pooler get to the front. With the next-gen cars, very risky to bump draft. You have to have it centered perfectly. If not, there's going to be some major issues.
Yeah, I watch these guys bump draft in these corners, and sometimes I'm just makes my hair stand on the back of my neck because I know how easy it is to get that wrong if you're not totally squared up on that back bumper. But we'll see whether they can all get through it, and then, of course, we'll have to make it to lap number 100, and that's when the real pushing begins on lap number 99. But here we go, headed for the stage break in just another 6 or 7 laps here. Carl Pooler still in front. You see Alex Light now having to jump back into 4th. Wolsifer in that 2nd position. Hales now in 3rd, which is where he qualified. Barefoot now into the top 5, up 4 spots from where he started the night. A couple of drivers still coming up through the field. For Stephen Dombrowski, we're looking back at number 15th on the track. That's Ronnie Norman, so he has not joined this front group. And we did hear from Brady Motes. Unfortunately, wheel just shut off. And that's tough to hear from Brady Motes. We do appreciate you checking in with us, though, and letting us know what was going on out there on the track.
I want to go back to Alex Light with how he lost the 3rd position. I think a bump draft went wrong where he got Wolsifer the 4th sideways, and the 56 was stuck below the double yellow line, which is out of bounds. Light wanted to bring him up there, and so in response to that, he went up to the 2nd groove, lost a spot, though, to Hales in the 53 as a result.
Well, it's one of those, again, difficult things to do. It looks so easy on television, but when you've got to do it yourself in real life, it's or on sim racing, it's the same thing. You've got to perfect those bump drafts. And certainly there's room. I've seen some of the very best sim racers out there try to push their teammates to victory by bump drafting them here at Daytona, and it all ended in tears. So it takes a lot of courage to go out there and bump draft every single lap, but some of these drivers are going to be doing that for this entire race. Just 5 more laps remaining here in this very first stage of the first race of the Buttkicker Cup Series for BRB.
Pooler's doing an excellent job at holding the line, keeping it out. Looks like there might be some traffic coming up onto the track in front. Nope, he's going to give him the space, and hopefully it doesn't upset anybody's line here, but Pooler is doing an excellent job holding that front line.
That 2nd groove, though, is coming in handy. Light decided to switch up there in front of Ronnie Norman, and he's got to run for this lead off of turn number 4, coming to 5 to go in stage 1.
Well,
That's definitely the move we were looking for Light. After holding that lead for so long, he was looking to make that move, and looks like he found that high line.
just as we were talking about, there comes that high line in, and would you believe Starman Ronnie Norman is back in 4th place just that quickly. Appreciate Steven Dombrowski checking in and rooting on his guy Ronnie. That mojo's working. He's pushing Alexander Light right now to the very front once again, as that 54-32 team up to get up there on that high line. Everybody watching what's going on there. Looks like Light struggling a little bit there.
That was a big stack up on the outside with that 45 of Gregory Shaw, and he is up in no man's land on that extreme 3rd groove with no help. That could cost him stage points. He was in the top 10.
Yeah, big shake up there. Looks like he's dropping back a little bit. These drivers try to collect themselves, get back into 2 lines to try to make it through to the end of this first stage. It's already turning into Survivor in the mid-pack, but so far Carl Pooler, he's managed to hold on to that low line and shake off that charge that was coming on the outside, as Light really struggled out there in the lead. He's now dropping backwards. Wolsifer holding down 2nd. Both of those drivers gaining 6 spots from where they started. Hales in 3rd, Light in 4th, Barefoot in 5th place at the moment. And Clapper Newell has now joined back in this top fight as well. He's up into the top 10. Zachary King making his move up into the top 10 as well, gaining 10 spots from where he started. Now we're seeing a little bit of a drop-off from some of these drivers. You've got Shaw and Rogers and Cody Brown now in this backpack here.
Yeah, they're playing the smart way. They want to just stay patient. They don't care about stage points at the moment. They just want to make sure they're dodging wrecks and make sure they're up at the front at the right place at the right time.
Well,
Daytona is definitely known for its wrecks. When it goes, it goes. And look at that, the bumpers glued together.
They're doing everything they can to march their way back up to the front, but unfortunately this front group has got to head on. Now, as long as they race side by side, it's going to create some draft for that group that's fallen off to try to get back up there, but I think this is your group here with just 1 more lap remaining until this stage break. Pooler in front, Wolsifer in 2nd place, Bill Hales in 3rd. We're going to see that challenge come from the outside line. I think right now it's looking like it's this top 3 that have this one covered so far.
I know car in the top 10 currently Evan Patinko, and he's got a lot of company behind it with Borbell, Hughes, and Hawk all battling for stage points. Oh, trouble! There we go, big one!
This is a big, big incident in the middle of the pack. The top 4 will make it through. We've got several drivers involved in this one. Zachary King, one of those drivers involved. Looks like Bazeo and Rogers going to make it through okay. But we've got Patinko, Hawk involved in this one as well. So this is going to end the first stage, and congratulations to the very first winner of a BRB Buttkicker Cup Series stage, Carl Pooler for Limitless Esports, taking that top spot.
Yeah, I think what you're going to see here is when we get the replay here off of Jeff Barefoot, a bump draft simply gone wrong by the 54 of Alexander Light. You'll see it right here in turns 3 and 4. Right there. You can't bump draft in the corners because it's just going to freak out the car. And what a tough break for the 51 of Zachary King. Had that missed, and then has probably the heaviest impact of all the drivers.
Yeah, that's really tough break there for a number of those drivers that had just hung in there through the full course of this first stage, and then one bump draft gone wrong in the corner, and around they go.
King just gets hooked up right into the wall. It's going to be a lot of damage. That might really hurt his race moving forward here. And he was running pretty damn good with the rest of the pack there, so we'll have to see what that ends up doing for him.
You're on board Zachary King. Luckily, the best part here for everyone here is, man, yeah, you can just feel that from inside the race car. Luckily, everybody does have a quick repair, so for the drivers that will have to use one, likely the drivers that had the big impacts, they will have to be patient for a little longer in the race.
Yeah, really tough thing to have to use that quick repair so early on, as we'll see Barefoot here get touched and sent around. Again, it's something that you don't know. There may be one of these towards the end of the race. It looks like Barefoot managed to get away from that one relatively scot-free for having been sent about 3/4 of the way around. Unfortunately for Patinko, a little bit more damage on board. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, if you were Barefoot right now, I imagine that you're just not so happy. I mean, Barefoot was having just a beautiful run all the way through on that high line. Was still gaining ground. He was doing very good in his first stage, gaining a lot of positions. I'd imagine there's going to be some not friendly words in the pits after this one.
Yeah, Light did apologize on the team radio, saying it was his fault. So we'll see how things happen between the two. But yeah, just a bump draft gone around. But luckily, everyone's still in this race.
Fortunately enough. So with that, we're going to take our very first break here on VirtualRacing.Network. We will be right back. Stay tuned. Let's go ahead and hear from Buttkicker, who is the proud presenting sponsor of the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. Be right back. And welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. We are under caution for our very first stage break. And it was, of course, Carl Pooler who takes the very first win. That gives, with all of those pit stops, that gives up the position actually to Richard Wolsifer, who's going to be our top driver, who will restart here in this second stage. Of course, we'll be doing another 25 laps for this second stage. And what an exciting very first race. And once again, great to have you all joining us here live on YouTube for a very historic event, Sundance Pizza 250. Sundance Pizza in Wickenburg, Arizona has great pizza and so much more. Great wings, onion rings, subs, salads, hot dogs, and burgers too. Also make sure to try the ice cream and shakes. I saw jalapeno poppers. I saw all kinds of awesome, delicious looking food, including a supreme pizza that I would be ordering tonight if I was in Arizona. So make sure to check out their website, www.sundance-pizza.com, and you can order online and go pick it up. That sounds delicious, and certainly the way to go if you are in Wickenburg, Arizona. Guys, we're ready to go here for the second stage of this Sundance Pizza 250, and Wolsifer leads us to that green flag.
Yeah, Wolsifer, from the looks of it, may have taken 2 tires with an 11.1 second pit stop and just filled the rest of the tank up with fuel. Everybody else, 4 tires on back. I like the 2-tire decision. Let's see if it pays off, as him and Pooler have checked out big time. That may not be good for both of them, because Clapper Newell in third could get a huge head of steam.
Well, I personally, I mean, Alex, I don't know how you feel about this, but I love the idea, but I don't know if I would deploy that idea in the very first part of the second stage. That might be something I keep as an ace up my sleeve for the very end of the race if there's a caution, because the rate of closing here with this draft is so great that I don't know that track position is where it's at the start of the stage, but it's still pretty cool to see this type of tire strategy. We'll see whether it works out for Wolsifer. Pooler already back up into that second spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just depends. If Wolsifer's feeling really good after that first stage, if he doesn't feel like his front end is pushing in these turns and he feel like he can hold the speed, it might be worth the chance. But considering all the other drivers took 4 tires, it might not work out in his favor, but we'll definitely have to see.
Well, Clapper Newell now up into that third spot. Adam Bazeo now sitting in fourth for Next Level Motorsports, making his way forward, and I think he's going to try to be a contender here in this second stage. He barely cruised through that incident there at the end of the first stage. It looks like we got everybody repaired and back out there with the exception of Brady Motes, who has parked it, which is a shame, and also Nicholas Renner not taking the start here tonight.
Rodney Norman going for the lead. Big push from Gregory Shaw, as well as Jeff Barefoot, who was the first driver to spin after that first yellow, and Norman jumps down low to go to the point. But look at that run for the 45 on the outside in the corner. You don't normally see that often with the next gens at Daytona.
What a run for that machine for Shaw. He's got that Ford hooked up on the outside and pushing through. He managed to pull down in front of Ronnie Norman, and he shuts that door.
Definitely quite a move on the high side there, and definitely interesting jumping on that high line and getting down on that low line there. Definitely a smart move, getting back on that low line. Obviously, low line burns tires a lot more, but at the same time, using that momentum has definitely paid off in his favor for sure.
Well, so far, the drivers that sat at the front at the start of this stage have now fallen back to third, and my goodness, how far did he fall? He's a ways back there. Wolsifer, though, sitting in third spot. Pooler, who won that first stage, now in the fourth position. And you see Shaw, who was not up in that top 3 in that last stage. He's already climbed up there and decided this is where I want to park myself. Easier to run at the front of one of these things. Marty, is it worth the clean air to be up at the front? I mean, it seems like it's easier to control the car, control the tire degradation.
As of right now, it will be. When we get, though, into stage number 3, I feel like you're going to want to be behind more because there will be one pit stop remaining, and it could happen under green flag situations. And obviously, when you're in the slipstream of someone, you're able to save fuel, better economy, because you're lifting off the throttle at times. The man that doesn't have the best fuel mileage is the man out in front, which is Shaw.
Well, Shaw doing a bang-up job right now, holding off the competitors. You see Bazeo, they're trying to force the issue. Number 56 of Richard Wolsifer coming down a little bit below the yellow line with that air buffeting. But it's looking pretty strong right now for Shaw and Norman, who have emerged at the front of this race, and right now in this second stage, pretty much unbeatable here at the front of this group. Looks like Shaw moves up now to cover, and Wolsifer able to close up on that low line. So move Wolsifer now into the second position.
Marty, if you were sitting up here in third, fourth, what's running through your mind right now?
If I'm in third and fourth, just focus on pushing whoever's in front of you. Unless you're the guy like Gregory Shaw up top, then you're just thinking, give me a push, just don't bump draft me in the corners. Obviously, we know what happened with Jeff Barefoot with 2 to go in stage number 1. Just focus on working the lane up high. Hopefully, you have the momentum in front and behind you.
Momentum he might have creeping up here, and it looks like he's going to get up into the front here, just barely creeping out in front of the lower lane coming into this turn.
See that high side lined up a lot better together compared to the low line, how closer they are compared to the guys on the bottom where they're a little bit spread out by half a car length on average. That helps out Shaw propel himself to the lead.
Well, we're watching these two lines. Look at that top line. Just as just a couple of laps ago, we had the low line paying off. Now the top line pays off again. And the draft keeps Ronnie Norman in it as the number 9 of Adam Bazeo drops down onto the low end on the track. The low line manages to cover off that lead.
I think it's interesting to see the 45 of Shaw keep it up high, open the door for Buzzio, who was clear to take the bottom side. That surprised me for just a bit. But I think that Shaw is hoping for a big push to go. Big push to come on the outside and then just stay up high. Hopefully he gets some momentum in the corners.
Norman definitely doing that, holding the second place. Looks like Pooler is still kind of hanging out in 4th and 5th there, hanging back. And, you know, as he took first stage, starting to wonder at what point is he going to make a move, or is he just going to hang tight, maybe ride out this next stage and try to make a shot? This we'll have to see here. The low line is jumping out here, coming into the long straight.
Well, fortunately for these drivers, now we're seeing a little bit of breakup here in this front 3, getting away a little bit from Carl Pooler. But it's been fortunate so far. These drivers have kept it together pretty well. We did see an incident at the end of the first stage. Oh, it looks like one of the drivers, I think that was Jeremy Clapper Newell, who just got, I was going to say, at the end of that first stage, we had a bump draft go wrong, and it kind of looked like the same thing almost happened with Zachary King getting into the back of Jeremy Clapper Newell, but fortunately they both able to get that car back under control here and straightened out. Kind of scary stuff there to be doing that at about 200 miles an hour. Suddenly feel the wheels get loose on the car.
Yeah, also a scary moment when you have the rear end lifted up from the bottom because of a big bump draft. And barefoot now on the back of the 45. Remember how it was in the first caution? He was on the front end of that deal, but he knows better. There's a stack up on that second pack advantage for that low group with Buzzio than Norman.
Well, the rate that they're closing here, this is getting interesting in the mid-pack as everything is building up and building up as we get close to just 10 laps left here in the second stage, Alex.
Well, we keep seeing, too, on this high line, when they're bumping, the few times that they get through and they're doing a bump draft and they actually continue the bump draft into the corner, that you can watch that high line start creeping up on the lower line, and they are 3 wide here coming into turn 3.
Yeah, everybody leaving the 51 of Zachary King out to dry, and it's just losing a lot of spots, puts him all the way back in the 12th position, not where the Aflac Duck wants to go.
Well, he's blinking out right now. I'm getting a sense that he's just decided to drop back to the end of the line. Unfortunate stuff, as you never know when that internet connection is going to kick up, kind of like Brady Motes was experiencing earlier. Back at the front, though, the Ideal Leafs Next Level Motorsports machine of Adam Buzzio right now sitting in that top spot with Ronnie Norman in second place. Not sure what the deal is with the number. Officially, he's registered with the number 9, but on the side of the car it says number 5. I'm not sure exactly what that is. I'm sure they'll get that straightened out by the second race. But either way, Adam leading this race with no issues whatsoever and putting Idealise out there in front. Ronnie Norman with his familiar NOS Energy drink machine there sitting in second place. Richard Wolsifer for Limitless now currently occupying that third spot. Stints built, I have no idea what that is, but I'm sure they're proud to get a little bit of extra screen time. In the meantime, our winner of the first stage, Carl Pooler, now sitting back in fourth as we get down under 10 laps. Now 9 laps remaining here in the second stage for the Sundance Pizza 250. We're going to start to see some moves here, guys. It's single file in the top 5, but I don't think it's going to be for very long.
Yeah, both Pooler and Clapper Newell showed their nose at the outside for just a moment. I didn't like what they were seeing. I think they're going to wait until the 5 of light in that red and black 54 gets a big run off of turn 2, or maybe even headed on as they enter the Daytona super stretch.
They are headed right now down this long back stretch, and as you said, he's holding, Alexander Light is holding on that outside line, leading it forward. We'll have to see whether or not he can lead them all the way up to the front of the group as he has done before. And of course, we saw last time was Norman who was able to ride up there and get all the way back up to the front on that outside line, and he currently sits up there in second place right now. Here comes Light, riding the light, so to speak, on that outside line, with Shaw just behind in that bright blue Ford machine, the number 45.
And that's a big push that's coming there. I think he could make his way up to the lead by next lap unless somebody goes up to him. Light's up to third, and he's side by side with Norman. Buzzio is right now a sitting duck at the moment. Would you agree there, Alex?
Oh, absolutely. And as we've seen from qualifying, Light enjoys that open air, and I think that open air right now is working for him. He keeps getting his bump drafts in, and that's pushing him forward. But Buzzio, I'd be starting to question how is he looking on fuel, and what moves are we going to make. We'd be definitely curious to see as we get closer to the end of the stage what moves come out of that, and what that's going to mean for the pit stop coming out of the second stage.
Let me just say this here real quick. Everybody's good to go on fuel from green to stage checkered in stage number 2. A fuel window here at Daytona, they have an 80% fuel window. The fuel window is 38 laps here tonight. So after lap 50, there will be one more stop the drivers will have.
Going to get real exciting in that third stage. I guess that's another reason to try to get max points here in the second stage. You see that red machine of Alexander Light, the number 5, creeping into the picture. Is he going to be able to take this outside line to the front? He's got some help there with Gregory Shaw, Jeff Barefoot there, Zachary King joining that battle on that outside line. They're making their way forward. Are they going to have enough here in 5 laps to carry it to the stage win this time? Carl Pooler, winner of stage 1, right now sitting back in 7th place, but these positions are changing quickly. That outside line has arrived at the front.
A lot of drivers as well trying to side draft off that second groove. Oh, look out! 32 is sideways. That's Norman. The low side checks up, and he's able to save it. Wow, great car control from the NOS Energy ride. High side with the huge advantage, just lights out in front.
What a huge
King got
moment.
the wall.
And we've got some real shaking up here. They're 4 wide, and Ronnie Norman gets bumped.
There it is.
We're wrecking here. Carl Pooler, Adam Buzzio involved.
This didn't start with Norman getting sideways here in turn number 4. There was, I think, a hook by the 51 of King and the 11 of Barefoot. And King got put up in the wall. Some drivers decided to go to the apron to take action. And what you'll see here with Adam Buzzio when he merges up, this is what causes everyone to freak out pretty much. You'll see right here. So you see King and Barefoot hook. That puts King up in the wall. And then Buzzio just, everyone freaks out because of that, because you never know where he's going to merge up. And there you see the spin that breaks out with a 56.
Well, rough to once again make it so far into the stage. We'll now watch Adam Buzzio on board as he goes down below that yellow line. He knows he's in no man's land. He tries to come up. He makes contact. Ronnie Norman, and calamity ensues.
This may end stage 2 here under the caution flag. I want to say it will and put the drivers in a 50 lap. Possibly green flag stage 3.
Watching from on board with Carl Pooler, and he just gets sandwiched. And now Jared Hughes, unfortunately, gets caught up in this mess as well. He had been a little ways behind. And you can see some of the drivers coming up the track.
They did just say on the radio, too, here, Trevor, that was stage 2 officially, so Alex Light will get the 10 bonus points here.
Wow. Well, I guess that outside lane arrived just at the right time. That is good news for Light, but unfortunately for everybody who got caught up in this mess, including Richard Wolsifer, this is a rough go of it here. Let's see. Wow. That is a lot of contact, and you know what? I don't know if he's used that first fast repair, but he's going to need it because he just popped that engine.
Yeah, I don't think he's used it. Yeah, he was out in front at the stage 1 yellow, but, you know, some drivers may forget to turn off that check mark for the quick repairs, because that's always on no matter what, automatically, unless you manually uncheck it.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of fast repairs. You don't get that on official racing, and not every league enables that, so it might be something that you kind of have to remember during the course of the race. We'll see whether Wolsifer can get back out there or whether he's accidentally used up his fast repair earlier. Of course, you would have had to sustain a little bit of damage in order for that to happen, but either way, hopefully he can get back out there. We're going to step aside for just a moment, and you get a chance to see some of what Sundance Pizza out of Wickenburg, Arizona has in store for you if you head on over, order online from Sundance-Pizza.com. We'll be right back here on VirtualRacing.Network for the rest of the race. Stay tuned. And welcome back live here on VirtualRacing.Network. Of course, you're watching the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series, the Sundance Pizza 250 at Daytona. It's been a very interesting race so far. Had a couple of incidents towards the end of the stages that have brought out the stage break, with Alexander Light winning the second stage and Carl Pooler winning the first stage. And now we're going to have a very interesting one, Marty. To close this one out, you're saying that we're going to have to do a stop here coming up.
Absolutely. Like I said, fuel window is 38 laps, so to speak, with the 80% fuel window. The window opens at the earliest, lap 62, and we're coming back to green. The latest drivers could pit is lap 88, so I could see some drivers splitting that in half.
Well, here we go. We are Back to green flag racing at Daytona for the Sundance Pizza 250. At Daytona, Alexander Light taking the lead. Jeff Barefoot now up there into second. He's been involved in a couple of incidents, but he's still able to get up there into second. Gregory Schall in third. Ronnie Norman holding on to fourth and fifth place. Jeremy Clapper Newell. Make sure to say hello over in our YouTube chat room. Of course, you got to subscribe in order to be able to chat, but make sure to get subscribed. You'll get notified of the upcoming BRB Buttkicker Cup Series races. We'd love to shout you out on the air. Right now, we've got a good race for the lead. It's Ronnie Norman on the outside, Alexander Light on the inside, and Norman back into the lead. And now here comes Gavin Rogers.
Rogers been very quiet in this race as he moves underneath to go for the slingshot. Thought for a moment it was going to be the 53 of Bill Hales that would make the move. Norman still with the advantage off of turn 2. He'll get that big push off of Hales.
Big move for Rogers, but Norman counters on that outside line. Norman so strong here at Daytona. He's got so much experience racing for championships. And now you see Hales going down to the low line. He's going to try to take that position away from Norman as well. Great move
Norman's
for Hales there
from
Spirit Racing. And Alex, indeed, Norman, he's not going anywhere.
I was right on board with, I believe it was the 77 of Rogers, and he gave Hales a heck of a push going into turn number 1, but the high side with the run, a big slingshot from Hawk underneath.
Hawk moves into that top position, and it's like a rotating, it's like a rotating table out there. You've got now Hawk into the top spot, or is he? Because here comes Ronnie Norman back on that outside line, and Gregory Schall right behind him, pushing him. This is getting to be very familiar territory. Schall loves to push, and Ronnie Norman has found his way to the front.
That push all the way around has just really pushed Norman way up there. And the question's going to be, is Norman going to keep holding that high line, or is he going to eventually make that move to the lower line?
You know, I actually like this strategy that Norman's doing. He's keeping it on the high side, hoping that there is still a draft behind him to at least try and hang on to lead at some point. That way on the straights, he'll still have the advantage. Now, what we're seeing here, a train on the outside, it's the first time we've seen it here tonight. This can be common in iRacing on Next Gen. I remember seeing the train on the outside, and I was on the bottom by myself. I was blown away the first time I saw it, but this is very common to see with the Next Gen cars. Guys hugging the wall, trying to grab that aero cushion, and just stay patient until the drivers come in for their final pit stop, whenever that's going to be.
We're really watching Norman here. He's getting some real heavy pushes from Schall, even some touches there in the corner. Hopefully Norman can hang on to it. That can, as we've seen before, that can definitely be risky, but it seems like Norman's got his hand firmly on the wheel, and he's going to keep holding it there.
Well, that's exactly where you want to be. You want to be controlling the front of the race. Best clean air advantage here at Daytona. Allows you to control those tires, especially if they're going to try to push it to the very end of this window. 38 laps is going to be quite the distance for these drivers compared to what they've been doing in these 25-lap stints. You're going to start to feel those tires cook off a little bit. It may not be much because the temperature is very reasonable under this evening sky, but it is going to start to kick off a little bit. You'll feel it through the corners, and certainly some of these drivers are going to have to alter their line in the way that they handle these cars. I've said it before here on broadcast many times. These NASCAR next-gen machines are prima donnas, and just when you think you've got them in the right window, something happens. You've got to take a little bit different of a course of action, and the next thing you know, that car can get right away from you. It does not like to behave over the full course of the stint.
Charles trying to peek down low, hoping that he has a dance partner, and either that or hoping that he has some more double file pack racing. But in my opinion, he's in a good spot again with fuel mileage. He's able to lift up, but now he decides to go low, and he's got some help from the two to go for the lead. Norman's in no man's land.
Norman gets hung out to dry on the high side. He finally gets a little bit of help in the way of, I believe that's Carl Pooler who manages to slide. No, it's Gavin Rogers who slides in behind in that number 77 machine, but he got almost hung out to dry and sent to the back, but now it looks like that outside line with the amount of help that is formed up is now going to start to push back and reclaim this lead once again.
Alex, sorry, Trevor. Alex, I believe there are 3 drivers right now that are the best at the moment. Greg Shaw, and then Alex Light and Ronnie Norman, and I think the rest of the drivers are trying to find a way to get them away from the race leader, either hang them out to dry. Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. If you're one of these other drivers right now and you're sitting there and you're watching Pooler, who has not only won one stage at this point, but is now back up in the lead yet again, you got to start asking yourself, what can I do to either put myself right behind them and give myself the window, or what can I do to shut these guys down so we can get up there?
It's all about strategy. You got it in your head of what you want to do. Whether you can pull it off on the track is something else, but the driver that does manage to execute the best here tonight is going to be the one in victory lane. Make no marks about it, as they're going to have to work their way through this field. Very tight competition here at the front. Now Carl Pooler taking over that lead again. It's so familiar. He was up there in that first stage. He managed to take the first stage victory. Now Bill Hale slotting into second, and Shaw racing it out with Jeremy Clapper Newell and Stephen Borbell there for that third spot.
Pooler, remember, I believe if it was him that won stage number 1, and he's got the good push from the 53. Everybody double file, but you see the width, the cars, all spread apart. Nobody wants to take any big risks. Nobody wants to try and side draft this early on in the race, with the fact that the next important flag to end something would be the checkered flag.
I mean, look at that outside line. When it gets moving, there is almost no stopping it. I mean, look at that. 3 cars have now pulled ahead of where Carl Pooler was just a moment ago. This has got to be something to be factored for the end of this race and timing these drafts here on the outside line, because there is no fooling that outside line. When it gets hooked up, it is coming by in a hurry. Shaw now leading this race.
And Alex, it's that set of 3 I told you about. Shaw, Light, and Norman working together, and it's pretty much, like I said, it's those 3 against everybody else. And right now, obviously, if you're the 32 or the 5, you want to try and make your way to the inside, but they're just stuck right now. They can't do anything.
Yeah, there's really not a lot of open windows right now. If you're on that high line, if you can sneak down and get out in front, like what we've seen with Borbell, you might get lucky, but as of right now, the only thing you can do is just hang on, hang in the pack, and just keep waiting for that window to open up.
Big push from the 71 of Pooler to Borbell. There was a bump draft just before they got in the corner, and that was when Pooler lifted off to try and avoid getting the number 2 sideways, and Borbell back out in front, coming to 40 to go, and we see somebody coming in. That's Jeff Barefoot. I don't like that call of him coming in on lap number 61. He would have to make one more stop.
Yeah, it's hard to quite understand the logic behind coming in so early, but if we're taking a look at the best lap times versus the last lap times, a lot of these guys are off quite a bit from where their best laps were, as much as a half a second. So I'm not sure what that says about the undercut strategy, but nevertheless, like you said, Barefoot deciding to get in and off of pit road. Let's go ahead and get the track map up there for you so you can see exactly where your favorite drivers are at. You'll see their initials there as they circle the track. Barefoot still sitting on pit road. This is a very long stop, guys. I don't think this is just for tires and fuel here.
Yeah, and he's out. I think he was repairing some damage to his race car. And Alex, this is not a good time to pit, but he is also Mr. Lonely, and you do not want to be pitting by yourself at Daytona, because when you're not in the draft, you lose a lot of speed.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's not able to catch up to that backpack. He's going to be chasing for several laps. I mean, he'll be on fresh tires, so he'll be able to gain some ground back, but Barefoot's been pretty lucky in the last couple collisions. He's had a couple door dings, stuff like that. He might have taken some more significant damage than what we can see. So that might be the decision to come in early. But whether or not that's going to hurt him for the entirety of the race, definitely be left to see here if he can catch back up to the pack.
Not going to spot the small stuff yet because he is the first driver 1 lap down. He is eligible for the free pass. He was hoping for a yellow in a couple of laps. Barefoot's coming to the start-finish line. Richard Walsifer is off turn 2 right now and is like 3/4 of a lap behind Barefoot.
Well, it's all starting to break apart, guys, and we haven't even really begun pit stops yet, so we'll see how much this shakes up the field just seeing this very first pit stop. I don't think the undercut strategy, as you were saying, this was a bit early to come in, and now we take a look as Buzzio is a long ways back here, and I'm not sure what exactly the decision is there because they have not made their stop yet, so they have just fallen way off the pace, perhaps still damage from that earlier incident.
We have Walsifer the 4th on pit road at the moment. The fuel window is officially open. Obviously, Walsifer the 4th, just like Barefoot, as I mentioned, doesn't have anybody. He is already a couple laps down. Fuel window, though, is officially open. I wouldn't go this early personally. In case of overtime, there's up to 3 green-white checkered attempts. Like I said, that's why I would say meet in the middle with about 25 to 30 laps to go. That's when I would start to think about making my stop then.
Well, I think we're definitely going to see Borbell's probably going to be one of the sooner ones in the pit, leading as long as he has. He's definitely burning a whole lot more fuel, staying out in front, and maybe Pooler and a couple of these guys that have been kind of hanging back. Obviously, we know they're quick and they like to make their moves when they're ready, but we'll see if Pooler hanging there in second and conserving fuel is going to pay off here.
You can see that pack starting to catch up. Walsifer just getting out in front of the pack there, and he'll be chewed up here in just a moment by Stephen Borbell, who is right back here, still holding the front of this race. Carl Pooler in second, Bill Hales in third, Jeremy Clapper Newell in fourth, and Jared Hughes in fifth spot right now as they work underneath Walsifer.
I don't think we've yet to mention this, but while we are under single file conditions, I gotta say, how about the sunset we have here tonight at Daytona? It is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, we'll have to see if we can get, maybe if we go on board a little bit
You'll
of
see
a
it in
better
turns
shot
1 and
here.
2.
Yeah.
You get a better idea in 1 and 2. It is just, it's so cool.
I see you've stepped outside the commentary booth and just been checking it out outside, soaking up the sights here at Daytona, Marty. It always gets into your blood, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Beautiful night for racing it is.
There you go. There's a nice shot of that sunset.
Well, soon to be nighttime here at Daytona International Speedway, located just several hundred miles away from our studio headquarters in the great state of Florida for VirtualRacing.Network. But this is a historic evening here on VirtualRacing.Network. The very first race, the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. I'm Trevor Greenfield, joined here in the booth by Marty Sakala and Alex Axman. We are closing down this race. Just over 30 laps remain. So far, it has been a very interesting race with Alexander Light winning the second stage. And, of course, Carl Pooler winning the first stage. Right now, Stephen Borbell is heading this group, but that second line now beginning to form up once again with Alexander Light in charge, and he's got a good pusher on the outside in the way of Gregory Schall, and also, I believe, Gavin Rogers in that outside line as well.
Top three have a big gap on Rogers and Clapper Newell because they were door-to-door for the fourth position, helping out that top three pull away, but Rogers now has the 13 clear with Schall behind him. Now, there's some interesting situations here. I should say it's three wide with Rogers in the sucker hole, there is some interesting strategy here going on. You can either play the game of chicken here, Alex, and wait until late to take less fuel and just make sure you have enough to go up to 3 overtimes, or you can go as long as possible, or you can go on lap number 75 and make sure you're going empty to running on like empty to the finish, because you'll have less fuel, which is less weight, which means a lot more speed for the race car.
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest with you, I'd be more concerned about burning less fuel and getting a new set of tires in, just in case we have all these green light checkers. I mean, you start talking about a drag race, a fresher set of tires is definitely going to pay off in your favor. If it was me, I maybe would go in just a lap sooner than everybody else, get a new set of tires. Might set me back a little bit back in the pack, but if we chase down multiple green white checkers, that fresh set of tires will definitely pay off, I would believe.
Got to make sure, though, you have a friend with you to pit, so you have at least some sort of draft. I recommend 2 or 3 friends, probably.
Friends are
That's
good.
definitely when you come down to your teams. Yeah, we'll definitely see. I imagine we're definitely going to see the teams kind of break off into pits. Definitely see the next level guys probably all grouped together, going in the pits so they can run their group out at the same time. So it'll be interesting to see what breaks down here in the next couple laps. I imagine we'll start seeing some new change up here and seeing some team strategies. Just for a second, I want to talk about that John Deere paint scheme on that car. You ain't ever seen anything quite like it.
Haven't seen a John Deere paint scheme in a while. I think last time was in real life 2000.
And back some heritage there. Zachary King's still in the back there. King when you see him make a move, he definitely gains his positions back, but him and Norman hanging back there, I'm not sure why Norman's falling back as fast as he is. Maybe there's an intention to that, but we've definitely seen him hold a good fight throughout this race, so maybe there's a reason. Maybe he's just taking his time. We'll just have to see what comes out of that.
I think one of the interesting strategies here out of King is not only with the internet issues, and hopefully he has it fixed, but I'm wondering if he's just trying to stay back behind the tail end of this pack where, he doesn't have to be right in the middle of it, where he could get involved in a wreck and then move up. That way, he doesn't have to be way too far behind. You see the 22 of Hawk catch the wall.
Oh, and he manages to save it there. It looks like he might have gotten a little loose coming back down towards the middle line, but doesn't collect anybody, so that's a good save on his part.
Alex, I think we jinxed him, unfortunately. The commentators jinxed.
He's on the wrong side of the track to be mowing grass, so I'm not sure why he decided to go up that high on the track. It's a little too early to be playing those games riding up next to the wall, but unfortunately he drops back a little bit. He'll probably be able to recover, though, as tis only a flesh wound, and he'll be able to get back in this lead fight. Steven Borbell holding on to the front of this race. Carl Pooler, already a stage winner here tonight, in second. Bill Hales in third. Clapper Newell in fourth place, and Evan Patinko now sitting in that fifth spot. This is starting to close in, guys. Just a quarter of this race now remaining on the next lap. The strategy is going to start to play out. We're going to start to see teammates deciding to come in to the pits together, and then it is game on to the end of this race. Execution in the pits going to mean a lot. It's a big pit entry, easy to get in, but still you've got to make sure you come down from 200 miles an hour to the pit road speed limit safely. Don't lock up those tires. Don't overshoot pit road. And whatever you do, don't speed on pit road.
Yeah, this is a stop that a lot of people overthink when they make their way off turn 4 for the final pit stop. If it were me when it comes to pitting here, I think this is a situation where I would take fuel only with my team and make sure we get away. Try and gain some track position. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, if the cars are still holding together well, which it seems like I've not seen many people slide up at all. Every once in a while we see a car kind of shuffle up on these lines, but these cars are really holding these lines well. So the drivers, if they're feeling confident, just running fuel, it might not be a bad play here. Definitely running out of laps to make moves, so it might be just the play to take.
Now, as we're coming to 25 laps to go this time, this is where I believe it is go time, where you can try and split this in half. You would guarantee yourself being good to go to the end, and you would obviously have the entire draft. That would help you out as a factor to possibly get yourself out in front and have the race lead in the end of the strategy. After that, or you can wait all the way up till lap 88, and I have a feeling a lot of drivers are going to be waiting until that lap to pit.
Well, as it is, everyone last came in on lap number 47 and 48. Cody Brown, the one driver to come in on lap number 48. He finds himself in the very back of this lead pack. Jeff Barefoot, now 2 laps off. He came in on lap 60, and Richard Wilsifer, unfortunately, now 3 laps off. He came in on lap number 61. Everyone else on the exact same strategy. So it's going to be very interesting to see who decides to break away and make that pit stop. We'll be finding out here very soon. Under 25 laps to go for the Sundance Pizza 250. Stephen Borbell has been holding down the front of this race through the majority of this third stage. Once things started to settle down, he and Carl Pooler seemed to like to stay in formation there at first and second. Bill Hales for Spirit Racing is now making this appearance here in the top 5, and he has been doing a solid job here tonight. Jeremy Clapper Newell, he actually started up in second place, but here he finds himself back in 4th, rejoining after earlier slipping back a little bit. Evan Patinko up 8 spots here tonight for Spirit Racing, currently sitting in that top 5. Jerry Hughes up 5 spots, and Gavin Rogers, who's sitting in that 7th spot right now, he is up 9 positions tonight. And he so far is the hard charger. So we'll keep an eye on that group, but you can't go much further back than Alexander Light. This guy has made all kinds of charges forward tonight. He's been up in the lead. He's been challenging. He even took the second stage, but right now he's sitting back in 8th place as we get ready for pit stops to be underway here anytime soon. I don't know. I think a lot of these guys, though, are going to push it to the very end of that fuel window, as you were talking about, Marty, and just try to get the lightest car possible, the shortest amount of time that you have to stop, the shortest amount of time to have to refuel.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting when the drivers decide to pit. They do have to signal when they are pitting in.
I saw somebody the other day, sorry to cut you off, Marty. I saw somebody the other day recommending for iRacing to add in the ability to, like, wave your arm, the drivers to wave their arm to let people know that they're coming into the pits. I think that would be a really cool addition, but so far you don't have anything like that. You just hit the pit in button, and hopefully people are reading the text.
Now here's the
I don't
question.
know that
How
I
would
want
you...
to stick my window, my arm out a window at 200 miles an hour. Do you?
I wouldn't want to, but here's the real question. How would you do it in an open wheel race? I'm not going to say the other word because of all the other stuff, but how would you do it in an open wheel race car, in a Dallara chassis?
I mean, they do hold up their hands a little bit. It's not the same thing. You can't really get much arm motion inside the cockpit because you're strapped down pretty hard anyway, but you can hold your hand out, the car. They used to do it a lot more back in the day. I think they just more sort of dip down to underneath the yellow line just a little bit to indicate.
Here we go.
They're going to come in. Here we go.
Everybody's coming.
This is for all the marbles right now. Borbell not able to hold on to the top spot coming into the pits. It's Carl Pooler who takes over that top spot.
Pit road speed 60 miles an hour. You don't want to overshoot that pit box, and we'll see who gets out first. I was very surprised to see everybody coming together with 20 laps to go. I thought we would see some different strategies there. Let's see who wins this race off pit road, though.
And it does appear to be Borbell who gets off first. And in fact, Pooler still sitting back here on pit road. He may have...
I think he's sped.
Oh, no. Wow. Well, that would explain why he got in first, but now these drivers have to drive off of pit road and get up to speed and rejoin this pack once again. But of course, this is going to absolutely destroy Pooler's race. He was looking like a top 5, easily top 3 contender after taking the first stage victory, but now this deals him a really bad hand at the end of this race. Just 20 laps remaining here for the Sundance Pizza 250 at Daytona.
We haven't talked about him a whole lot, but Newell has been kind of hiding and just very quietly has stayed with the front pack throughout this entire race. And he's just kind of been there. I'm waiting to see a move from him. I feel like if any driver is going to make the early move, I think it's going to be Newell.
Now, as we look at the pit strategy, a lot of the drivers that fuel only, top 7 drivers who we see, maybe even top 8 too, they took fuel only. I think Alex Light took 2 tires. I'm back with Ronnie Norman and Eric Hawk, and Norman, in my opinion, the biggest loser. Look how much time he has lost. He's already 5.7 seconds back, and that is going to continue to drop unless he gets a dance partner with him.
Out on the front, and the pizza machine, he still is. Borbell's still hanging on there. And he has led, does anybody have an idea how many laps he's led? He's led quite a bit out here.
Yeah,
he's led
the most laps, I can tell you that.
Sadly, it's not one of the stats that we're given here in our studios for the number of laps led, but as you said, Marty, right now, look at this gap between Ronnie Norman and Alex Light. This is 8 seconds, and basically then you've got another 1.5 seconds back to Eric Hawk. Right now, Ronnie's best chances of catching back up, I take it back, it's a 13-second gap now back to Eric Hawk. So right now, the best chances for Ronnie to catch up are to wait it out and hope that he gets a yellow flag, because right now, this group right here is pretty much the only ones that have a chance to win this race if this stays green until the end.
Yeah, this is the Peloton pack, as I like to call it. It's the pack with the most cars in it. It's similar to cycling, but they say a Peloton pack, that's what that is, and like the Tour de France. This is what this is they have a lap car that they are approaching. That's Pooler, I believe, in the 71, who, remember, had that penalty for speeding on pit road. And he's about to get swallowed by the leaders.
Well, what a rough go of it is for Carl Pooler, who was up in the top 3, sitting comfortably before that round of pit stops. And just as I had mentioned, you don't want to speed on pit road. Well, there goes Borbell by. And officially, now Pooler goes down a lap, and he has to watch the rest of these drivers compete. Now, he may get a chance circle back around with that lucky dog, but I doubt it because everyone has already made their pit stop. So Borbell is taking over the lead with Hales in second, Clapper Duel in third, Patinko in fourth, Shaw in fifth place, Hughes in sixth, Rogers in seventh, and then you got to go back to Light in eighth, but Ronnie Norman now 14 seconds adrift. And it just is not getting any better for Ronnie Norman. This is sad stuff for this driver. Now, the good news is for him, he's probably going to be able to survive and hold on to ninth. The bad news is he has no chance to catch back up, as do the rest of these drivers back here. You got them fighting it out for 10th place, as you can see. Matthew Erickson, Cody Brown, Eric Hawk, Zachary King, all fighting right now for that 10th spot. And, I mean, it's not going to do them much good to try to catch up to the front group. So there's not really much point in working together. But then again, I'm not really sure what the point of fighting it out is back here right now at this stage. But they're going to try to do it and get the maximum amount of points that they can. Back up at the front, this is your lead group. This is, if it stays green, this is who is going to end up winning this race between Borbell, Hales, Clapper Newell, Patinko, and Shaw. That is your top 5 at the moment. 14 laps to go before the gloves really start coming off here, with about 10 more laps to come. I can't wait to see who is going to take the first ever victory for the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series.
You see that 77 trying to make a move there. That's behind Alex. I believe that may be, is that Jared Hughes? No, that's, correction, that's Gavin Rogers, I'm sorry. And he's may start to get some help. Not too much help, though, as they work on, I believe, Barefoot as he goes another lap down. Now, I want to go back to that second pack here, Alex, and this will give you a good idea. That second pack from Norman on back, they want a caution, obviously. Where do you think the best chance that caution will take place?
I considering what we've seen already, I don't think that caution's going to come out until very, very late, and then you're definitely in the drag race for sure to the end.
I would agree with that.
All the drivers up front have been very stable.
Yes.
They have not been making any risky moves. They've been very stable. Halls, Newell, none of those two have made a move on Borbell yet. And unless that high line track shows up again, I would say we're kind of locked in where we're at.
Rogers says, though, it's time to go. He's going to make his move. We're double file racing once again at Daytona.
Back up in front. The battle is on as we get very close to that 10 to go. Going to get the double high fives from Barney the flag man at the start stand here in just 2 laps. And then the real race begins here tonight. Everybody kind of waiting it out, waiting to see how things are going to pan out, trying to stay out of those incidents, trying to get in and off of pit road successfully. Well, these drivers here at the front have done so, and now they're just about to unleash everything they've got to try to take this victory. Orville, Hales, Clapper, Newell, Patinko, and Shaw, your top 5, as we get just about ready to hit that 10 to go.
I feel when it comes to who the drivers could be and that could be involved, if we get a late yellow, it's going to be amongst this first pack because you're racing for the win, obviously. You're going to get aggressive. You're going to try and side draft. You're going to get close to the driver that's beneath you or up top of you. It could get wild here in these final 25 miles.
Well, exactly, and that's what I mean, if there is that caution that comes out, I know like Alex was saying, it could come out very late. If it comes out anywhere except for the last lap, there will be green-white checkered attempts. And that means that all these drivers that are in the back now would be able to come forward and make an attempt. We are under yellow right now. And we've got Richard Wolsifer on the backstretch. It looks like, I'm not sure who else is involved here, but Wolsifer involved, and several other drivers having problems. Let's take a look here at what happened to Wolsifer. Looks like he's in the middle.
So when you take a look at this off at turn number 2, I think he just got hooked from the John Deere car of Eric Hawk and just sent him around. But this changes the complete complexion of this story. That second pack that we mentioned, Ronnie Norman and guys like Jared Hughes and Matt Erickson were in, they are now back in this race. The cream is going to start rising to the top.
Well,
and all these drivers took brand new tires too, so we're definitely going to see if that pays off now.
This is going to be very interesting stuff indeed as everything gets reset. Another look on board with Eric Hawk as he was racing side by side with Wolsifer. It looks like he comes down a little bit. Wolsifer not really expecting it, coming up the track a little bit and sending him around. So that brings out our 3rd caution for an incident. And let's see who decides to come in for a late caution to get brand new tires. I mean, certainly they still have a couple of sets left. There hasn't been too many cautions here tonight. Guys, do you come in? I know if you're in the very front, you probably waited out with that track position, but if you're in 5th on back, do you take the risk and you come in and get brand new tires? Is it going to pay off?
Oh, it's always a coin toss, taking tires. I've had luck with it, but that was, I had luck with it because we had another caution thereafter, and it looks like, they were thinking about it.
Everybody's going to have some fun faking here.
trying to
Oh, we
bait
do
some
have
people
some
in.
takers, though. Erickson, Hawk, Norman, King. I believe Hawk, though, has to go to the back as he was trying to find that gap behind Wolcifer.
Our back half is taking tires.
Well, it's, again, it could matter in the tightest of situation where you have to hold your position on the low line, or you're coming around the high side and you need that extra little bit of grip. It may just be everything that you need to get the brand new tires, as a lot of these drivers came in on lap number 80, so coming back out here on lap number 92, not that big a difference, but again, it's kind of like, what do you have to lose with these new tires? Not too much. So we'll see whether or not that pays off. We're going to take one more quick break here on VirtualRacing.Network. Don't go anywhere. Be right back for the conclusion of the Sundance Pizza 250. And welcome back here to Daytona International Speedway. Trevor Greenfield joined in the booth by Marty Sakala and Alex Axman. And you are watching the Sundance Pizza 250. That's Sundance Pizza in Wickenburg, Arizona. Great pizza and so much more great wings, onion rings, subs, salads, hot dogs, burgers. I saw corn dogs. I saw jalapeno poppers. All kinds of good stuff to check out on their website. Ice cream and shakes. Sundance Pizza. There's something delicious for the whole family. Order online and see the whole menu at sundance-pizza.com. Great stuff there. And, you know, I'd encourage people to head over to yelp.com and see their reviews. But, hey, Alex, you were saying off camera here that you had actually been to Sundance Pizza and it was good stuff.
Yeah, when I was seeing the sponsor here, I was kind of shocked. I used to live down in Phoenix, and we took a road trip, and we actually stopped in at Sundance Pizza. And let me tell you, that was probably some of the best pizza I've ever had. And, you know, it's really good eating, definitely worth a stop in. I enjoyed it. Me and a couple buddies, I mean, we're on the long haul, and it was a place to stop and eat, and that's what we did, and it made the trip a little more bearable.
There you go. You gotta love it. I love it going on road trips when you find a place like that that just hits the spot. And certainly appreciate the endorsement from Alex Axman. Of course, this has been an awesome race so far. We've seen two different drivers taking the first two stages, and now as that pace car pulls off, who will it be at the end of this one? Stephen Borbell is going to lead us back to the green flag. We are back underway here at Daytona International Speedway. Gavin Rogers in second and Gregory Shaw in third.
Now, this is a situation where the leader is going to be not just a sitting duck, but he's also going to be doing a lot of mirror driving, trying to figure out which lane is the best to try and block. This is where your spotter is going to have to be very key as Borbell gets in front of Rogers. But is this high side lane going to be the best here with Jared Hughes in that 98? Remember, it takes a lap for the high side to get up to speed.
And we may see it come in here before long, but we've got now 6 laps at the line. It's going to be 5 laps to go. And great to have Gentry checking in and letting us know that they're watching on. We appreciate it. And rooting on Gavin Rogers, who's currently sitting in second place at the moment. This is starting to heat up, guys. And like you said, Marty, that outside line is going to start to form up here before long. High five that last time at the start-finish line from Barney the Flagman. Just 5 clicks around the Daytona International Speedway to get it done.
Nobody, though, making a move. I'm surprised nobody's going up to that high side. Who is going to be the first? I wouldn't be surprised, though, here, Alex, if it's Alex Light, because he's been one of the drivers to do it the first time, and when everybody's single file, and it's paid off.
Yeah, he's always had really good luck in the clean air, and we've seen it a couple times now where he gets up to that high side and makes one just killer run on that high side. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that in the next lap or so when he makes that jump. I think he's just going to need that one partner to get him pushed, and as soon as he's got that, he's going to make that run. I'm just waiting to see it.
Bill Hill's laying back, trying to get that big toe off the 45 down the super stretch and see if he can pull up to that second groove and see if he can get that to work. But right now, it's not working.
This is the time for all the strategy to come out. There's no more time remaining, just 4 laps to go. If you're going to go, this is it. Put the pedal down and make your way forward. Right now, Bill Hale setting in that 4th spot. Who is going to jump out of line? Who's going to have the support? Who has the teammate friends to help him up there? Right now, it's Next Level Motorsports owning the top 2 positions. But you've got a couple of Spirit Racing drivers in Jeremy Clapper Newell and Evan Patinko back here. You've got Ronnie Norman for Full Send eSports as still part of this battle. Who
Here we
is
go.
Gonna go? There goes Ronnie Norman on that outside line.
And Shaw went up top, and he's got some help from the 54. Now the leader goes up top with Borbell. Coming to 2 laps to go at the World Center of Racing.
This is exactly what we wanted to see. It is changing lanes in a hurry. Borbell still in the lead. Rogers in second. Hales in light, now fighting it out for third.
Here comes the big run by Bill Hales underneath here, Alex.
And you got to start wondering, as the leader, at what point do you switch lanes, and what block can you throw to keep the lines away from you? Oh, we might have a little bit of trouble here. The bumps drafts are not quite paying off.
Yeah, Hales got sideways off at turn 2. Stacked the bottom side up, advantage to the high side. Now look at Norman go down low as he looks for third. We're coming to the white flag this time, Trevor.
1 more lap to go at Daytona International Speedway. Still so much in the air. Will we make it to this white flag with no caution? And this will make it a complete race. Now it is going to be complete. Whoever is in the lead, if a caution comes out, that is your winner. Borbell blocks. Alexander Light into the mix. Rogers, Shaw, Buzzio now into the mix. And now Ronnie Norman back into 5th.
They normally wreck off at turn 2 on the final laps in Super Speedway Racing, but not working out there. Here comes Rogers. Light tries to thread the needle. And they're wrecking.
And they're wrecking. Oh my goodness. Several
we
contenders.
We just lost everybody.
Borbell, Hughes, and a number of drivers. Who's still in the lead?
Wrecked.
The front three wrecked. Ronnie Norman is going to survive this race and take the win with Bill Hales in second. Gavin Rogers dropping backwards. Adam Buzzio is going to take third, but that's across the start-finish line. It's Ronnie Norman who survives his way to victory here at Daytona.
I'm going to take a look at this once again, but I think there was just a Rogers got turned by Norman as he was looking underneath, and that actually sent the front 3 up the racetrack. Everybody kept it straight, but Norman had all the power to get to the line. So everybody that was in that lead pack was involved at that wreck.
Well, we saw a couple of different incidents play out. Let's see if we can get to the chopper view here and make it a little bit easier to see. Marty, 2 different incidents play out. One with Light coming up the track here on the backstretch.
And it looks like Light went to go make a move, and it just did not work and just pinched and it just collected everybody on that left lower side.
And then everybody here on this high side with nowhere to go, as I think that's the 98 that got forced up the racetrack. And watch this heavy hit that light takes. Ouch! And I think we saw the 98 as well flip down the super stretch.
Well, let's back it up here. We can take a look what the 98 went through here, as you can see.
Oh nope, I'm sorry. It's the other white car. That one right there that got up in the air.
I believe that's possibly the 13, or is it the 68? There's the 68.
Yeah, that's Campbell.
So this is Jeremy Clapper Newell. Well, actually, it's Christopher Campbell here, who was on the outside of Shaw coming in to this incident area. And we'll jump back to the chopper view, and you can see it looks like Shaw tries to come back onto the racetrack, and there is Campbell, and he shoots up the racetrack and gets into Clapper Newell. And then calamity ensues for this group. Now let's take a look at your race winner, Ronnie Norman, and you can see the spinning car just in front of him. Now let's back this one up and see how this unfolds for Ronnie Norman as he's following along. He goes underneath, and it looks like they had just moved down there. The 77 had just moved down Gavin Rogers to perhaps block, but I'm not sure. We'll have to watch this one from a couple of different angles. Guys, quite a tumultuous end to this first race of the season, no matter how you go about it. Let's watch in real speed. This is what Ronnie Norman saw. There's Gavin Rogers just in front, and it looks like Norman goes for the gap, and I don't know if Gavin Rogers thought he was there.
I think Rogers just threw block. I think that's the only thing you have to do at the same time while making sure you try not to take out Norman. That was kind of like a lot similar to Michael Waltrip, Tony Stewart in the final lap of that race at Talladega in 2012.
And to add salt to the wound there, Rogers pops the engine, and he falls down through the order to finish in 13th place. Wow. That's, I mean, guys, as great as this race was and as clean through much of this race as it was, this is just kind of how it goes down at Daytona sometimes.
What a wild ride there, right there at the end.
We'll watch
Looking
on board
at
from
Buzzio here.
Buzzio. He gets turned, but he manages to keep it pointed, somehow pointed forward. He's got cars going off all around him, but he knows this is the end of the race, and it's going to stay. It's going to stay. The results will be however they finish coming across the line as he manages to pass Gavin there. He pulls it across and ends up in third spot. Bit of a messy finish here at Daytona International Speedway, but it does provisionally at least end up with Ronnie Norman atop the leaderboard. We're going to pull this one together and get our final results for you. We'll be right back here on VirtualRacing.Network. Stay tuned in just 10 seconds or so. Be right back. And welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. You saw it live here. Ronnie Norman was up and down the order through the night. Managed to hang back through much of the first part of the race, but did take the first or second stage, but he survived to take the race win for his Full Send eSports Toyota team and end up at the top of the order there at the very end. Congratulations to Full Send eSports, team taking the very first victory, and Ronnie Norman taking the first victory here of the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series, the Sundance Pizza 250 at Daytona. Finishing in second place is Bill Hales for Spirit Racing. Third going to Adam Buzzio for Next Level Motorsports. Then comes Eric Hawk, Evan Patinko, Gregory Schall, Stephen Borbell. What a difficult thing for Stephen to end up back in seventh after such a strong run here tonight. Matthew Erickson back in 8th place. Jared Hughes in 9th. And Cody Brown, that makes your top 10. Christopher Campbell ends up in 11th. Jeremy Clapper Newell, he spent a lot of time up in that top 3. He ends up back in 12th. Gavin Rogers in 13th place. Difficult night for him to see that podium position erode there at the very end. Alexander Light, again, what can be said other than he finished just in front of the other stage winner. Alex taking the second stage, Carl taking the first, and they end up in 14th and 15th position. And then Richard Wolsifer, Carl's teammate at Limitless Esports. Jeff Barefoot ending up in 17th place. Zachary King for Spirit Racing in 18th. 19th belonging to Brady Moats. And Nicholas Renner not turning any laps out there tonight. This was a very interesting one, guys, and now we're going to get a chance to chat with our top 3 finishers of the evening. Alex, I believe you got a chance to catch up with our 3rd place finisher, Adam Buzzio.
Yep, we are cycling back here, and Adam, what a wild ride right there at the end, wasn't it?
Oh my goodness, yeah. I couldn't make heads or tails of what happened there for a second, but it looks like the 54 car came up into me, and I think it was just a little bit of net code. It attached our cars, so there wasn't anything I could do there, which just sucked us both down the track. But brought our own 3rd. Can't really complain about that too much after the race we had there.
Well, and it looks like you collected up there and managed to keep it out of the wall and get through the grass, and I imagine there's a hole in your seat after that one, but you're able to get backpack after the collision with everybody and get back on the track and hang in there. Was there any strategy coming in on that back stretch on this last stint, and was there any change between stint 2 and this final shot here?
Yeah, for sure. Unfortunately, there, I was at fault for that second yellow there. From my in-car, it looked like there was a tan car on my outside, and I thought he was coming down the track, whether he got hit or whatever happened. So I dove to the apron to give some room, and I just wasn't able to hold it down there. So I want to apologize to everybody for that. I thought I was trying to help and inadvertently caused a crash, but that got us an EOL, so it kind of put us behind the 8 ball on the restart. Whoever was in front of us got a terrible restart, and we ended up real far behind the pack there, which threw us off strategy. So we were just crossing our fingers for a yellow. We got it, and the strategy there coming to the last couple laps was just try to get to my teammate Gavin, which I was able to do. And man, we had a heck of a run going into 3. I really thought it was going to be down to the 2 of us there, but a little bit of chaos. That's normal for a super speedway. So I think overall the race was really good, though. I'm happy how the night went.
Well, and it looks like it worked out in your favor, and congrats on 3rd place here on the first race of the season.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys too. Real quick, just wanted to give a quick shout out to Buttkicker, Sundance Pizza, Trevista, and Idealies for everything they've done as far as sponsorship for our league. Getting us going. Thank you guys so much for the broadcast. It looked great tonight. I got to catch glimpses of it, and thank all the drivers for a great race tonight.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Adam, our third place finisher here on tonight's race. And from here, we will move on to Bill, who was our second place. And I think, Marty, you had a chance to catch up with him, didn't you?
Yep, we've got him with us. Bill Hale's finishing second. Bill, walk us through that final lap from your perspective.
Well, I thought we were sitting pretty, and we had that caution, and we decided that the team was going to stay on the bottom. And we took the white, coming past the white flag, I got hit a little bit in the rear, got loose, and then had to get on the high side. And then as we were coming down the back stretch, I could tell that the red car was going to go in the middle, and they got collected and they turned. I think if I'd have just went low going into turn 3, I'd have won the race. But I stayed a little high and clipped the 32, I think. But good race, really just rode really the whole race. Once I got to second on the bottom, I could pretty much push anybody and keep them in the front, and that was kind of the plan, was to keep the one car in front of me and just push him to the very end, and then we were going to try to make a last lap pass. But second is good for the first race, and got a good points tonight. Got a lot of points in the first segment, so it was a good night.
You were one of the first drivers I saw in that final restart that was laying back on the bottom, trying to get that slingshot. Was that the plan? Try and move up to the second groove to try and go for that lead?
No, the plan was to get to his bumper and push him clear and then try to go to the outside. I wanted to try to get to his bumper, push him hard down the back stretch, and then going into turn 3, go to the outside, side drafting a little bit. But like I said, I got bumped in the back coming off turn 2. That got me a little loose, so I had to check up. And then luckily, I didn't collect anybody. And then I worked my way back to the top. And luckily, just missed the main wreck, but I still got into the back of the 32 and damaged my nose and just barely made second. So it was a good night.
Heck of a run. Who do you want to give shout-outs to?
Yeah, man. So we want to, for our team, our sponsor, W Energy, they sponsor our car. Great sponsor. Also, if you go to the website and use Scope Spirit on W Energy, you get 10% off. Also, thank the wife for photography companies on the hood, Melanie House Photography, and our small little construction company, Emanates Construction. But and everything the league is doing, I think it's going to be a very exciting league and a lot of fun.
Alrighty, man. We'll let you go. Great job tonight and a great start to the season for you.
Thank you, buddy. Have a good night.
You as well. Bill Hale's our second place finisher. And Trevor's getting ready. He is in victory lane, away to talk with our winner, Ronnie Newman. Trevor, you got him.
I have had a chance to catch up with Ronnie Norman. He's so used to this. Of course, anybody who's been watching here on VirtualRacing.Network for any period of time has seen Ronnie Norman in victory lane. Tonight, it's for the Full Send eSports team, but that familiar NOS energy drink machine up there in the front, we're seeing on the screen right now. The move of the race that got you there to the front, a little controversial, but Ronnie, congratulations on taking the victory here. Another new series, another victory. It's pretty good time to be Ronnie Norman right now.
You guys hear me all right?
Yep, we got you.
All right, yeah, I was just double checking. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I got to apologize to Gavin first. I thought I went down lower going into 3 than what I did, and my in-car looks completely different than a far chase view. So first, I ruined a good finish for him. I thought I went lower, and from the in-car it looked like he came down the block and came across my nose. But like I said, after reviewing it, I don't know. I just went down at the last second and went to go around. We're racing so fast, and the cars are so close together, and I really hate that I did that to him. So costed him a good finish. Yeah, no, new series coming in here. New car, first time ever. Just bought the Toyota tonight, so 1 for 1 in the Toyota Camry. So can't complain with that. Yeah, no, it was just getting in here, race with these guys, and new names to be around. So you're just trying to feel each other out and get through it. And yeah, no, I was just hoping to get a top 10 and get out of here and get on to next week. But can't complain with a victory.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously the way that you want to start it out and start out a brand new season. Of course, we can't forget race number 28 over in the NORA Cup Series, where it was one Ronnie Norman who managed to take victory there this last season. So obviously you know your way around this place. What was the difference here tonight? I mean, was it about just positioning yourself? Did you have something up your sleeve? Was it something where you thought, okay, I'm going to hang out on that outside line and wait for my chance to get around? Obviously, the big key there at the end was being able to just survive that final wreck.
Yeah, I'm always a big run on the outside type of guy. You'll always see me trying to be that one guy trying to side draft everybody coming up the side lane, just to do something. I know at one point there during the race, I think it was through laps 50 to 60, we was all running the high lane, and I was just laughing just because everybody was following me. I was like, man, it feels like an actual Daytona race now. So it probably looked weird seeing everybody running that high side rather than the low side, and then everybody dipped out. So I was like, all right, we'll be back eventually. So, but no, I'm just an outside line guy. I just know that the inside just checks up so much that you can time it right on the bottom and then jump out to the outside. You can get up to the mid pack of a pretty good group of cars there on the inside. So just figure out where you need to be at here and there. And I mean, we got lucky there on that last lap with those 3 cars getting into it. You know, they could have came up into the wall rather than going down into the infield. So it's just the luck of the draw there that they all went to the inside rather than up into the wall and taking me out and everybody else. And then it was just a race between me and Gavin, and then I messed that up, and then yeah, everybody just died on the last lap, and probably made it pretty interesting for the broadcast team. So hopefully it was a fun race to watch for everybody.
Well, certainly, unfortunately, there were a lot of machines that got destroyed, but due to the fact that it's sim racing, hey, it's no big damage out of the owner's pocketbook. And speaking of which, owner of the Full Send eSports team, of course, is Christian Snyder. We hope he's out there watching tonight. We missed him here in the commentary booth. Normally, we're expecting that he'll be back and he'll be our co-commentator here. Fortunately, Marty and Alex able to step in his stead. But hey, pretty cool to be able to win one for Christian. We know he really struggled to get that NORA Cup Series victory. He waited all season long to get it, but here you're able to do it in the very first race.
Yeah, I'm happy for that. I know he hasn't been feeling very good the past couple weeks, so I've been talking to him a little bit, and I've been down this whole break myself. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice or not. I don't really sound the best, but we're here. We're racing. Like I said, just a new league, with excitement, and every time you're going to Daytona, it's always exciting. But yeah, no, definitely happy to get Christian a win after a long season of racing over there in NORA, and then come over here first race and finally knock it out. So I'll shoot him a message and see what he says about that. But yeah, just happy to get it out of the way, I guess.
Any other thanks that you'd like before we let you get off to celebrate?
Yeah, no, just thanks for Nos Energy for always being on being with me on my paint schemes, FanDuel Sportsbook. I think we got some new sponsors here. I'm trying to even Buttkicker Series, Cup Series here, Sundance Pizza, Trivista, Ideal Lease. Thanks to everybody that puts this league on. Thanks to Adam, all the admins, Race Control, you guys up in the booth there at VirtualRacing.Network for putting these shows on. And I'm definitely be ready to go back and watch this one at work in the morning. And yeah, thanks to Snyder Graphics. Gotta shout out Snyder Graphics for painting my paint schemes, and my teammates. Brady didn't have a good day. He was blinking. I think his wheel shut off. That's why he left earlier. So not a good hot start for Brady there. But thanks to Brady, Matt Erickson, and I think it was Christopher Campbell in the 68 car. He wasn't really on our team, but we let him in our group chat, so he wasn't by himself tonight. And he gave me a good bump there at the end. So definitely appreciate him for sticking with me and helping me stay up front. So just thanks to everybody that puts this league on, and thanks everybody for watching, and we'll be back here next Tuesday.
Absolutely. Well, great to have you, Ronnie, as always, here in Victory Circle. And maybe lay off the champagne tonight. Just go for that NyQuil or the honey and tea method, because I can definitely hear it in your voice. But good luck to yourself through the rest of the season. And certainly we hope that Christian and yourself manage to get healthy and stay healthy, okay?
I'm gonna have to have Christian make me a NyQuil scheme probably by the end of this whole stint here. So yeah, no, hopefully we can get better and we'll be better by next week. So yeah, I appreciate everybody.
So that is Ronnie Norman, driver of the number 32 Toyota for Full Send Esports. He takes your first victory here in the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series and the Sundance Pizza 250. It was a lot of fun out there tonight. Of course, as we mentioned, we wish Christian getting well soon, very soon, and we'll hope to have him back in the booth with us this next week. Guys, what are your final thoughts on tonight? It was all kinds of different racing, but at the end, it kind of felt like a familiar Daytona finish.
It was a heck of a race. Gotta give it up for the drivers first off. Race number 1, they kept it clean. Only 3 cautions at Daytona, I should say. And they put on a heck of a show. And it all came down to those final laps and where the calamity broke out. And a great race, and congratulations to Ronnie Norman on getting the job done. Looking forward to seeing how next week pays off at Nashville.
Absolutely, and there you can see on your screen the rest of the races planted out. There are the dates. Alex, a lot of fun for a first race. You got any favorites there as you see the schedule coming up? What are you thinking about this upcoming schedule for the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series?
I think it's going to definitely be worth watching. Looks like we got 2 road courses in here as well. As a road course guy, I always love seeing these cars be put to the test on the road course. I'm excited to see some of the drivers that definitely fought the fight tonight and see what they can do in these upcoming races. But I absolutely enjoyed it. Obviously a wild ride right there at the end, and definitely one heck of a show. Some drivers were really putting their heart on the line, and you can see it in their driving, and it looked really well.
Well, Marty, I'm sure you spotted Kern County and Eldora in the mix there. This is going to be a lot of fun with the rest of the season. I really appreciate both of you guys checking in tonight as well and covering for Christian Snyder, who is out sick, and we wish him the best in recovery. But to finish this one out, this was the Sundance Pizza 250 at Daytona. Sundance Pizza in Wickenburg, Arizona. Great pizza and so much more. There's something delicious for the whole family. Head over to sundance-pizza.com today. And if you want to get started with the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series, you can still join. They're accepting new applicants up to the end of race number 4. So head over to BRBRacing.League.com and you'll get hooked up with all the info, including a link over to the Discord, and you'll be able to join up. And in the meantime, guys, this was a lot of fun. We'll look forward to seeing everybody next week live on our YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed. Marty, Alex, I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Everyone else, enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you again next week from Nashville. Bye-bye.